Alright guys, I'm narrating because my microphone was off on my camera. So here I've got a piece of stainless stock with a hole drilled 11/32 through it. I started to tap it 1/8 MPT, but that wasn't working in the vise. It kept turning. There's a 304L angle iron, angle steel piece there. And you'll see on the right there is a flexible coolant hose. There's a valve in the middle there. There's a nozzle, and at the end is a 1/8 MPT fitting that threads into the stainless piece that I was trying to drill and tap. Um, Again, I was trying to drill and tap this stainless guy, but then it was just rotating in my vise. I couldn't tap it because stainless is pretty hard. But it turns out to probably be for the best that that happened, because I should probably weld that to the angle iron bracket before tapping it, so that way when I tap it, it doesn't get warped from welding after the fact. So anyway, those two screws are relevant to the whole thing. They were just sitting there. So yep, that's the angle bracket. I bought that for another project and I had it left over, so I'm gonna weld the stainless piece just like that, right on the center there, and that'll stand it off the drill press. It'll be tapped 1/8 MPT on front and back, so that the nozzle, the hose can attach from the front, and the feed from the pump can attach from the back. And you can see there, that's how I'm going to thread it in, and then that's kind of the assembly. Alright, so here I've gone ahead and I've welded the stainless tube that the solid stock that I drilled out with an 11/32 drill bit. I've welded that to the angle piece by holding it in my palm ground vise here. You can see there's a little V groove there that holds the round portion very nicely, and then the angle up against it, and pretty nice TIG welds there. This is 304L, so I like how well that welds. I weld it quite often. The nice part is you don't have to paint it or powder coat it or anything like that. It should just kind of hang out and look like this. You could, I might paint it powder coat it gray to match the drill press, but for right now I'm okay with this. Just messing with the exposure there. Yeah, so not much to talk about. I am glad that I ended up welding it first and then tapping it, because you know, welding it, especially since I'm welding just the one side meaning one side of the 360 degrees of the part, you can warp it. Stainless especially likes to pull in the direction that the weld is on. So, you know, not a big deal. This is not a crucial seal. I'm not running like oil or fuel for this. This is just a coolant line, low pressure. But you know, it's always good to do the project as you would anything else. So anyway, with that done, I'm going to go ahead and start tapping and assembling and so forth. And again, this is for the drill press. I'm going to put a drill, where I'm pointing there is where I'm going to put the screw hole that will attach to the portion of the drill press that holds the cable bracket. So it should fit off just like that on the side of the drill press. And you'll have an inlet on the front and an outlet, or sorry, inlet in the back and an outlet in the front, with the flexible hose coming off. Alright, so I've gone and like I said, welded this guy up real nice, but now that it's attached to this angle adapter or angle piece, I was able to tap it 1/8 MPT on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this up to the drill press and show you. Actually, I'm going to put the fittings in it first, but then I'll mount up the drill press and see, take a picture and show you guys through video what that's going to look like. Alright, so real quick, just as a summary kind of, I've got the bracket I've made with the MPT fitting on it. I threaded in this aluminum hose fitting with Teflon paste and the bendy, what do they call it? They're calling it Loc-Line, 1/8 MPT plastic fitting, again with some paste, but really this is a low pressure thing, and it's going to flow out of a 1/4 inch hole at the end. But if you were to turn it off, it'd be really annoying if you turned it off and it it leaked at the seams here. So those are good for sure. And I'm gonna go put this on the drill press now. All right, guys, and pretty much set here. I used an existing bolt hole that holds the wiring to the body of the drill press, and I had to get a longer bolt, but that's no big deal. I have a bunch of that in stock. Here's my inlet fitting. So I'll have a pump, my pump that'll be on the base, pump right up into here, and here's the outlet. And then as you can see here, I've got my light still intact. This guy stays out of the way of the light. No water or coolant's going to go over the wiring for the light at all. Light still works. And then I got my my guy here, and it's cool because I have enough that I can really get around. I could do the tool. I could cool the tool itself. The nice part is that I don't have it set up to follow the head, because that can be annoying depending on, especially on a drill press. If your drill bit's real long, if I had fastened it to the head, the quill rather, I might not have enough hose to reliably follow the tool. So having it on the base, the quill will travel separate of the coolant. So you would focus this on your on the hole you're drilling, and then drill away. And the only issue you'll have is you'll have to adjust this based on the table height. So I'm okay with that. Works real good. I put the knob here to turn the coolant on and off. I might move it up top, but I kind of like it having it down here for right now. There's a fitting back here. It's a 1/2 MPT to barb. So I'm gonna put a bucket underneath with a drain. I'm gonna have to make a plug for the center post, because you see, if I just rely on that one drain hole, it'll work. But the problem is, bear with me for a second. The problem is, this guy has a through hole. I don't know if you can see that, but this hole's through, and the table's through. Right there. So what I'm thinking about doing is simply making a plug for this table, and plugging that up so that you can get some chips in there, but the coolant will backflow out onto the table and not flood or not drip out the bottom of the table. So I'm gonna make a plug, just a tap-in plug. I could even put a Y underneath the table so that the two drains hook together. In fact, I might do that, and that'll be nice, because then they'll both drain and it won't rely on the one hole. Because basically, I have to fill this hole up with coolant until it floods out of here and drips down these 4 ways and makes its way back to this drain. So if I put a drain at the bottom of this hole, then I can simply drain that hole and the table. The only thing that will suck is that I'm going to have to stuff some steel wool in there and clean it out periodically, because chips go down there. So yeah, but anyway, so pretty good. I'll be running it probably in a few days. I got to order some hose and a couple fittings and make that plug. I might make it out of ABS plastic, turn that on the lathe, and thread it like 1/2 MPT, and put the drain on the bottom of that. So anyway, looking good, and that's my project so far. So that's that's what I was afraid of coming through like that, but that's alright. So on the back side, we got a little punch through here. But anyway, I just drilled through this stainless steel with Harbor Freight bit, and we'll see if it'll do another hole here. And it just really, it does drill really nice with this coolant setup. I mean, like I told you, I want to get another pump that has a little bit more lift. Because this is a full floor model, floor standing drill press. And it's the way I have it configured, the pump has needs a lot of head lift, but it's still not bad. So again, nice clean hole. Again, I did it down the center of the other one, but it's working really well. I'm really happy with it. All right, so for right now, I screwed up and I thought that this table was tapped 1/2 MPT, but it's 3/8 MPT, and I'm annoyed because I said that in my other video, but I didn't bother to check when I was at Lowe's today, and I grabbed two 1/2-inch or two 1/2 MPT fittings for a 1/2-inch hose. But anyway, what I've got here is a underneath. I got a little leak here. I'm gonna pop this out and silicone it, but this was more just a trial. I've got a plug I made out of ABS plastic. The table, as I mentioned in my other thread or my other video, has a slight has a hole in it. It's 1.170. So I turned a plug that's 1.121 with like a 10-degree taper, and I pounded it in into the hole, and I had then I drilled it for like 0.70, and I threaded it 1/2 MPT. So I have a plug in the ABS plastic plug. I have a bung, and then up over there, I don't know if you can see that. The only thing I had on hand was a 3/8 MPT to -8AN aerospace fitting for like a automotive fuel cell type fuel system setup. So the hose fits over that for right now. It's not leaking or anything, but I will replace that with a proper 3/8 MPT to 1/2 inch hose. So I have two drain hoses. One's coming through the center through hole of the table. Not entirely necessary. You could just let that flood and spill over, but then it can walk up, the fluid can walk up your part and off the table. So I wanted to drain that center hole. And then the table's corner has a 3/8 MPT hole pre-drilled. So I populated that with that bung, and I've got a drain. And then I'm going to show you the bucket below. So this is sitting right below the drill press, and of course if you had to drill a huge tall part, you'd have to either provision, well, I ran my hoses with the drill press all the way up, so you probably could lower the table all the way down, but you'd have to just be mindful of your hoses that they don't get kinked and stuff. But you can go a good 12 inches down from where it's at without issue. So I drilled a hole in a bucket lid here. This bucket's from Lowe's. It was like $2.50. Drilled for a 1/4 inch feed line. That's the supply, and this is the return. It's a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch ID. These are 1/4 ID, 1/2 inch ID. And then I just slit the bucket for the cord for the pump to come out, and I have the cord on a separate power, or I have the pump on a power strip, so I can turn it on and off separate of everything else on the bench here, and isolate it, because technically I guess you should have a GFI on this, but not too worried about it. It's a fountain pump, so there's really no metal parts inside and all that stuff. So anyway, at least that's my understanding of a GFI. You can do a inline GFI, which I guess I could put one of those guys on there. But either way, for right now, I'm just risking it, if you will. And then of course the feed goes up. Let me show you where that goes. Right, and so the feed comes up here. This is the bracket that I made earlier. It's a stainless bracket. I can tilt that there. It's a stainless angle iron with a 1/8 MPT union on it that I made on my lathe. It's welded. It's got a aluminum 1/4 inch hose barb to 1/8 MPT fitting, and then the flexible tubing here, the lock tubing, has a 1/8 MPT piece. And so what you end up with is it's pretty tall. It's got a bunch of lift that it has to overcome, but it's working. I mean, I would prefer, like I said, that I not have, or I have a little bit more pressure coming out of here. But for right now, it works. I stuffed some steel wool. It's a little bit finer than I prefer, but I stuffed some steel wool down in that guy. And that way, although the coolant will stop up, you know, it'll get clogged up. It will return to the bucket. It might just take some time. I've run this setup totally flooding the table. Now, granted, the pressure is not much here, but if you dump it like this, you can see that's the drain plug over there. If you run it like this, I've run it for about 10-15 minutes like this. The level doesn't increase. Does not increase. So there's also some steel wool in that guy, and it gets clogged. You know, the small chips and dust and stuff will find their way over there. But I'm just trying to minimize the amount of metal that gets back into the pan. The coolant I'm using is called Cool Mist. It's safe for people, environment, machines, and materials. I got it from McMaster or Amazon, I can't remember. But super concentrated for mist cooling. We're not mist cooling, obviously, but whatever. High lubricity. No mist fog fumes, which is, again, not applicable. But when it boils off, if you get it real hot, all you see when the part starts to get hot is it turns kind of white, and then it turns back to blue, and it drains. It doesn't smoke or anything as you use it. Synthetic and biodegradable, 100% synthetic and biodegradable, meets OSHA and EPA requirements. It's from California, so they tend to be pretty cautious when it comes to environmentally friendly solutions. It says mix 4 fluid ounces with 1 gallon of water, but I probably mixed a little bit heavier. Not totally heavy, but it prevents rust and stuff, so I figured, you know, you can't really go too wrong. It's just not cost effective, but because it's recycling it, I don't worry about that. So I think I probably mixed it 6 to 7 fluid ounces per gallon of water, and I'm running probably 1.5 gallons in this system. And of course, it's nowhere near enough volume out of the feed to run the bucket down. There's nowhere to hold 1 gallon on this, so the bucket's usually 90% full. No chance of running the pump dry or anything. So I've been running this pump setup for a while now, probably a good, I don't know, however long this video is, the later half of this video, and you can see the table's getting pretty full, but I mean, it's still got probably about 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch to go before it would overflow. So if you're drilling longer than that, perhaps you'll want to remove the steel wool and risk getting the metal down in the bucket. Again, I'm using like 00 or 000 steel wool. In fact, let me check. This is 000 extra fine. So definitely not ideal for this purpose, but I know it would strain some of the metal out. I'll probably just get some coarse steel wool and stuff it down in there. so I don't have to even worry about it. Again, it's going to get clogged over time, but you just go with your little pick that out. Same with this guy down here in the center, but pretty cool overall. So anyway, I hope you guys like this modification and someone finds it useful. Of course, the light and the laser still function, and of course the drill press does as well. I'd like to consider wiring the pump into the drill press and having a button on the center up here, but it's kind of a headache, and then I think I have to put the whole thing on a GFI and whatever. So for right now, this is cool, and I'm happy with it. Thanks, guys.